SonicLAB TV.
So hello, welcome to the part 2 of the Yamaha Mox 6 review. For those of you who haven't seen the first part, check it out. It's available elsewhere on YouTube. And thanks very much for all of the questions and comments that came in that helped me direct this review in the direction that you wanted it to go in. So we've looked at the synthesizer parts, the synth engine. We're going to take now a look at performance mode and sequence mode and some of the other aspects. So first off, let's take a listen to a couple of performances. So lots of splits and layers and the kind of thing that you'd expect to hear from the performance mode. But there's one thing that you need to know also is the insert effects are retained from the original voices on up to 3 of the performance parts. So that gives you a heck of a lot of effects to play with. You probably also heard a lot of arpeggiator patterns happening in there as well. And that's something that's also fairly complex and allows you to do some fairly deep and interesting things with. Let's take a look. So I'm going to start off with a kind of rock type thing. Just trigger that. Now I'm going to hit the edit button, and now that brings up all of these buttons into effect. I can switch the ARP hold on and off. I can mute individual parts of the performance. I can select individual ones for editing. I can switch the ARP hold on and off. So what we're going to do here is just edit the arpeggiator. Each part has its own arpeggiator, which can use any one of the over 7,000 arpeggio patterns, which is enormous. But then each arpeggiator has up to 6 variations and patterns. So switching these buttons here can change the entire sort of arrangement in effect, which makes it incredibly powerful for just sort of jamming up arrangements quickly. You've also got some quite advanced settings which allow you to do things like trigger fills when you play a certain velocity on the arpeggio, say a cymbal crash or that sort of thing. There's also ways of speeding up or slowing down the arpeggio rate against the master tempo, random sound effects, random SFX it's called, which will throw in random sounds or note triggers, things like fret noise, that kind of thing. So some really complicated and powerful arpeggio functions right there. There's another really cool function I can use in the arpeggiators. I've got this performance I like. I want to maybe record something. Normally I'd have to set up the sequence and transfer all the individual sounds. Not so in this. I can just press record. Then it's just a question of, I'll go into pattern mode. I'm going to record a new pattern. Then I press play, 2, 3, 4. Now all of these parts are recorded so with my variation, Now I can just press play, and I've got individual tracks, so the drums, the bass, and a little extra bit is there, including my variations. And now I can just add a piano on top if I want. And that means I can just build from performance straight into start getting into a sequence mode, start building extra sounds on the additional tracks that I've got available, and that's a really nice feature. Another thing I've been asked quite a lot about is the drum sounds. Now there are 64 kits inside the Mox, so let's just take a quick flip through and see what the sound quality and variation is like. Starting off with the basic standard kit here. You can hear there's a lot of multi-sampled, so very, very playable. I quite like these kits actually. Stereos, a lot of them have got arpeggios attached to them to give you an idea for auditioning. Some good contemporary ones. There's a good bit of hybrid stuff with these RB kits, and some contemporary stuff. I know it always sounds a bit cheesy when you say contemporary and then play a few sounds, but actually these do sound like they would be quite useful. Nice brush. And not all of them seem to be sort of rehashes of the same set of samples. There's actually quite a lot of samples. Good old 909. Good bit of boom on the kick. If you're into a bit of cameo, that kind of thing. Even some sampled stuff. This is quite nice. Similar sort of breakbeat kind of stuff. So there we have the drum sounds. I think they're also of a pretty strong quality, and that is my overriding impression really of the Mox. We're talking about something that has a lot of really good features. There don't seem to be any great holes in what it can do. You know, there's no weak points. I think the synth engine is nice and deep. The sequencing, the arpeggiator, the USB interface, they all have plenty to offer. Perhaps the only downsides I would say is obviously I'd like to see aftertouch, maybe increased polyphony, but that's going to add to the price. Speaking of price, the Mox 6 is 1,051 UK pounds. There's also a Mox 8, which has an 88 key weighted keyboard, and that's 1576. You should be able to find those significantly cheaper online, or if you go to your local dealer, the street price is quite a lot less. In my opinion, Yamaha have actually done a pretty good job here. There's a lot to offer. I even forgot to mention that the arpeggiator will output to external MIDI channels, can be switched to internal or external, as can the sequencer. You can use this to run other equipment as well. And I didn't mention the door control, which is also an extra feature. So overall, I think Yamaha have done a great job. I mean, this is a full-featured, well thought out, good sounding music production synthesizer, which I imagine is what they were aiming for. So kudos to Yamaha. I mean, it's not the cheapest, but I think you're getting value for money for what you're paying for there.